Welcome back to the experience. Today, my guest is Lisa Perdillo. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you. Did I pronounce it properly?
You did.
Okay, thank you. Been stressing about that. Lisa is a wellness coach, or what would we call you?
I wouldn't use the word coach, but I am into the wellness
Field.
field. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, you
definitely the
specialize
field.
in many things.
Yeah, there's so many different modalities that can be tapped into or tuned into
Right.
to just really be able to come back to yourself
Yes.
and to really get to know yourself.
Okay.
Deeper.
Okay. Like that little intro, thank you by the way, came out beautifully. What is that for people that just saw that?
Yeah, so those are crystal singing bowls.
Okay.
And they produce a particular harmonious sound and frequency that helps to harmonize the body and help slow down the mind. So they can be used to really allow us to relax and get into more of like a meditative state. And if you really look at our nervous system, we tend to, as humans, to be in more of a fight or flight response where we're stressed
Right.
through most of our day, really.
Right.
And so those bowls can help us switch out of fight or flight and get into more of rest, restore, relax part of our nervous system because we have two pathways. We just tend to
So
choose.
is that like a vibration thing or frequency? Like I know everything has different vibrations, frequencies. Like what is it? I've been learning this stuff, so
Yeah, absolutely.
trying to learn it.
Yes, there's so much information out
Oh yeah,
there.
oh yeah.
So the bowls definitely create a vibration and a frequency.
Okay,
And each of the bowls has a different tone, just like with music, an A sound, a B, things like that.
gotcha.
And so when those bowls are played, the type of vibration and frequency that's coming through is in such a harmonious way that it allows your brain waves to actually switch. And so
Like open up or accept it.
it actually switches the actual waveform of
Oh,
how
wow.
we're thinking and how our body is responding. So we're usually in beta
Okay.
brainwave,
Okay.
and that is like the monkey mind, all the things we need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also where we're like worrying about things that have happened in the past, where we're replaying them in our minds,
Right.
or worrying about what may or may not happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we are able to get in these states where we're no longer in beta and we actually switch into alpha or theta, we can actually switch that brainwave state. And now we're no longer worrying or thinking. The mind slows down and the body can relax.
That's crazy.
It's amazing.
How do you know like what particular? Because I took your class in January, right? And was it January? Yeah. So I call it a session, and I was totally in a meditative, like relaxed state. I mean, after it was done, I felt like I didn't worry about anything for like a month. It was pretty incredible. Chris told me about it, and I definitely had that reaction. But what state do you think my brain switched to at that point?
It's most likely alpha.
Okay.
You could have gone into more of a theta state as well.
Theta? Mm-hmm. Okay, is that like the highest or like what is that, like enlightenment or like
I mean, gamma is an even higher state than theta. I would say that's like super consciousness.
wow,
Like,
wow,
I mean, I can't explain it. I don't think I've ever experienced that.
wow.
But
It's like monk-like, where you just like meditate and get to that level of consciousness.
just pure connection, I would think,
Wow.
to where they would, I would assume, not feel the body, the mind. You would just be.
Well, it was definitely, I don't know if it was outer body for me. It was definitely, I remember hearing the bowls and you were speaking and everything was going good. And then I just woke up and it was over. And I was like, what? Like, how the hell did I fall asleep? But I guess I didn't fall asleep. It was weird. Like, how would explain that for people?
Yeah. So when your brain is switching out of that beta and into the alpha or the theta, you're actually going into almost like a waking sleep.
Wow. Yeah, it was I can't explain it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and time can actually feel so very different when we're not in that beta brainwave. So you can have this thing that's called time dilation,
Okay.
or time constriction. So in the physical, it might have been 45 minutes to an hour, but it felt completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so even people who are receiving the vibrations at the same session, one person may have had the sense that they were there for hours, and someone else might have felt like, wait a minute, I just lied down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember when that one lady, she was just like full of energy and like, I don't want to say anger, but she wanted to like do something, and you were telling her like, oh, maybe you should go home and like hit a pillow or something like that. I mean, you had like explanations for everybody, and I thought that was great because I was like, man, I just feel like I'm not worried about anything. Like, so all that like stress and things that I was carrying with me was just like, whew. Yeah, it was it was incredible.
Yeah, it can be for some. I mean, it's going to be whatever it is for each person, and like whatever.
It depends on the brain.
Yeah, it depends on the brain. It depends on, I mean, we're all so beautifully unique in our experience, and what we've been through, what we're carrying, what we worry about, what we think about. And so you could have a completely different experience. Like everyone could be in alpha or theta brainwave, and you would not have the same exact experience. So gotcha. You most likely, while you were there and your body actually got to switch out of that fight or flight and into the rest and restore, your body got to like really rest and really see what it was like to actually feel like. Yeah,
because I definitely felt like, I mean, I was walking around Target with Chris after, and I was like, dude, I just feel like nothing's wrong. Like, and I was going through some pretty traumatic stuff at that point in my life to where I just couldn't believe like that wasn't even on my mind. Nothing was bothering me. And it was weird. I was like, why can't I feel like this all the time?
Yeah. And when we get a taste of what the possibility is, because I really believe we're meant to allow life to be happening and to experience it fully. And at the same time, not allow those things to become stuck within us. So it's just a beautiful thing when we can have those moments where we're like, things can be happening that are really difficult, and simultaneously I can find that inner peace.
Right. Well, I mean, life's going to happen on life's terms. It's how we react. I mean, that's what my sponsor, Steve, taught me. So I've always tried to keep that in the back of my mind because, you know, things happen. We had some technical difficulties tonight, and it's like, you can't freak out. It's just, it's life. How are you going to react to it? And everything turned out good.
Yeah.
What got you into that?
Into sound, doing sound journeys. So let me see how far I want to go back.
Yeah. You go back as far as you need. Because I mean, I want people to like really understand like what you do and like the experience that you gave us, and so people can know more about this, because I think it's incredible, and you don't really hear people talking about it. One of my buddies, Mac McCall, he does a lot of meditation. Hopefully one day you'll get to meet him. And he has a tape that he's been coming out with to where it's like, you know, you meditate before bed or you meditate in the morning. And I feel like it's a similar feeling. And he talks about like the frequencies and the vibrations. So
yeah. And when you were asking me earlier about, you know, what is this really about? There's so many different modalities that can allow us to switch the nervous system and also switch those brainwave states. So meditation is one of them. Right. So when I sit and meditate, I can get into alpha or theta brainwave states without necessarily having to listen to a singing bowl. I can, and I do enjoy listening to music when I do meditate, but it's not necessary anymore. Right.
Are you, well, yeah, because you're more enlightened at this point, but are you doing like breath work for that? Because I know that's super important, you know, and I know we did that before we started because that stuff's been helping me. So I'm super excited about learning all this stuff.
Yeah. So breath work is extremely important. Just like we tend to be in this kind of overthinking, you can call it a monkey mind. I called it this kind of hamster wheel, like the hamster on the wheel. And it's like, if you slowed down, you felt like you were just going to kind of get tossed about. Right. And there's actually this moment where you can actually just step off. And that's when the mind gets quiet. And that's when you go, you have all the questions. Right. Why am I choosing to do these certain things? And why do I behave this way? And, you know, just really starting to look at taking responsibility for the way that you've created your life and the choices that you've made, and then realize in every single moment, you can have a new choice. And each new choice leads to a whole new experience. Right. So meditation, sound, and also breath work for sure. Yes. And even movement. So things like yoga
Okay.
or any type of exercise really where you're moving the body and not keeping it too stationary. That helps move energy.
Right.
So do you mind going back to your original question? I don't remember.
Well, just like what made you want to start doing, like, did you start with sound treatment or like, so what did you start with?
No. So, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
We kind of got on a roll there.
Yeah. You don't have ADHD, huh?
I don't think so.
Usually people get it when they get in the studio. I don't know why. It's crazy.
It's okay. So when I had a particular life experience, and usually I feel like it's major life experiences that tend to like catapult us into really looking at ourselves and making those changes that we may have thought about potentially. Right. And so in my life, that was my dad got sick and he passed away. So losing someone, having that loss just completely shifted so many things. And that just literally, I started, I wouldn't say analyze, but really I was really looking into myself. And the first thing that I did was a meditation. Mm-hmm. And it was a guided meditation. And I actually had a physical experience during the meditation, meaning like I had a release of emotion and grief. And like after the whole experience, I felt so much better. And I was like, I just listened to like a 30-minute guided meditation. That was really powerful. Wow. And that really shifted so much within me. And I was like, there's really something.
That was like your first time?
Yeah.
So kind of outer body, or more of an emotional like purge?
It was more of an emotional purge. I didn't really feel like I was out of my body. I was actually in my body.
Right.
But
that weird feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, that feeling and that release that I received through doing a very, I would say, short meditation. Yeah. And so I just really delved into meditation. So I took meditation courses. I started setting time up every single day. I started out doing 10 minutes a day, and my children were smaller, and I would just like, listen, Mom needs to meditate.
Mom needs some meditation time.
Yes. And so I would just kind of claim that space for myself, even with them being present and home.
You put up boundaries.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they honored it.
That's good.
They were even curious about it, but they didn't ever really interrupt. And 10 minutes is really not that long. No. But it's enough time. It really is enough time. And so I just, through a lot of practice, I meditate every single day. And now it's like 30 minutes. If I could have an hour, that's amazing.
Well, so Mac recommends doing morning and night, and his meditations are 10 minutes. And it's like, I usually do it at night, but I have to wake up early now to do it in the morning. Do you recommend that? Or is that, I mean, I know everybody has different practices. Yeah. So I guess I would like your input on that.
I mean, well, you can choose how you want to do it.
Okay. Yep.
My natural clock is I'm an early riser. Okay. So it was easier for me once there were times when I did it a little bit later and I had to announce to the children, this is my time. Right. But
they walk in and you're like meditating.
Yeah. Even they would come sit next to me quietly, just curious.
That's awesome.
Like, what is she doing? And what is happening right now?
Yeah. Why is her eyes rolling in the back of her head? She's floating. No, I'm joking.
Where's Mom going?
Yeah.
And so my natural rhythm is I get up without alarm at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
What?
So it's...
You go to bed at the same time every night?
Yes. I go to bed around 9:30.
Okay.
10 o'clock.
No, that's good. Yeah.
Sometimes a little earlier.
What time you wake up?
5:36.
Okay, yeah, same. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I am also an early riser because I have this list of stuff to do, but it's like, okay, you're going to have to do the 10-minute meditation. So now you really have to wake up a little earlier. And I guess I procrastinate a little bit in the morning. I don't know, move slower. Yeah. But I need to figure that out. But you're saying like since you've been doing meditation, you've been able to just like wake up without an alarm? Like from all this practice?
Yeah. Wow. Like I actually sometimes wish I could just sleep in.
Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I have a morning routine. You know, I get up and I'll have like my morning beverage, whether that's tea or cacao. It used to be coffee, but I don't drink coffee anymore.
Cacao?
Yes.
Is that milk? No, it's chocolate.
And it's chocolate. Yeah. Well, yes, it's chocolate, but it's like ceremonial cacao. So it's an intentional.
Okay.
So I am meditating actually in a way because I'm intentionally drinking my morning beverage, just staying very present. Yes.
What do you think about that, like mushroom coffee that everybody's talking about?
I'm curious about it, but I've not tried it.
Why did you stop the regular coffee?
So when I would go on different like retreats or do some type of cleanse, like an Ayurvedic cleanse or something, they would recommend that you stop drinking anything or eating anything with caffeine.
Gotcha.
So I would get the most horrific headaches that would last a couple of days. And I'm like, if I'm having some sort of detox
From stopping?
from stopping.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, from stopping.
I have a thing coming up in September that I'm partaking in, and it's definitely going to be like a 2 to 3 week cleanse of all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm a little nervous about stopping the coffee.
Well, I mean, it doesn't last forever, but
Right.
It's not comfortable.
Right. I never really get headaches, so maybe like
I don't
it
either.
won't have. Yes. Okay. But that did give you headaches.
Yeah, I definitely had that. So I decided, I don't remember when now.
Right.
But
Wow.
I decided, I was like, I'm just going to see how I do without it. And
you don't need it.
I don't. And I actually tried to drink it because it still smells really amazing.
For sure.
But I
and
don't.
decaf tastes like crap.
But I don't even like regular coffee now. So
Wow.
yeah. So now it's not something I have to do. And that was another thing. It's like, okay, why am I doing it? Like kind of really feeling into what is my intention when I go to drink this? Is it just because I need to get a jump start to my energy for the day? And I'm kind of looking for that heightened state.
Right.
Or is it that I'm actually enjoying what I'm drinking?
Yeah, because I noticed now that I've been paying attention to how I feel before I drink coffee, take my medicine, whatever, because I'll go days without taking my ADHD medicine, stuff like that, just to see how I feel. Sometimes I do a podcast with it, sometimes I do it without it. And I never really feel like I really need any of it. And I'm already alert and awake as it is. But I guess if you're tired from like doing something throughout the day, right? It's like, how would you get like a boost of energy naturally? Is that possible? Without drinking the caffeine, without taking...
I mean, people do cold water exposure.
That's what I did before I came here.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was only 60 degrees, so I really didn't get anything today. Yeah, I was like, damn it. Yeah, that's actually been a game changer. Have you messed with any of that?
Yes. I do not like cold water at all.
Yeah.
So it's very mentally challenging for me to do
Fight
it.
or flight.
Yes. But once I actually choose that, okay, it's like 1, 2, 3, go, like just do it.
Yes.
And just kind of not allow the mind to get too caught up. I actually feel amazing after.
Yes. Do you feel tired or do you feel energized?
Completely energized.
Okay, yeah. Some people feel like they want to go to bed after, which, but it happens both ways. For me, I feel like I took like a super Adderall.
I've never taken Adderall, but definitely there's this buzz or this increase in energy.
Kind of like after your class, I just feel like nothing's wrong because that fight or flight mode, I know your brain produces norepinephrine and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals.
Right.
And so I'll do like 10 minutes. And then right when I'm about to get out the cold dip, is like as soon as it hits 10 minutes, I go underwater. And I try to hold my breath as long as I can. So I've gotten up to like 2 minutes. And then I try to meditate under the water. And that does something to me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's really been really good for like everything for me. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. That's the only thing I could think of right now is cold exposure that could give you that boost with it being like in a natural way versus drinking a cup of coffee or however.
Eventually, I think we're going to have one at the studio. That way everybody could just cold dip before the show starts or whoever wants to do it,
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. So you said you went to Italy to practice or study this past summer? Where did you tell me you went?
Oh, this summer, this was for breathwork facilitation training, and that was in Greece.
Greece.
Oh my gosh. Nice. That's the first time I've ever been to Greece.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, I took an ancient history course, and I wasn't much of a history person. I was more science-based.
Okay.
And they talked about the island of Crete and all the things. And I was like, oh my gosh, one day I'm going to go there.
Right.
And fast forward, I don't know how long it's been.
It's okay.
Maybe 20, 23 years later.
What did you get your degree in?
Chemistry.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, chemistry nerd. But
it's all good.
So I'm definitely into the science stuff, and then all these other things are so fascinating to me as well.
Sure.
So I'm enjoying the combination of science and all the other things.
Well, right, because I mean, it all coincides. Like
It
that's
does.
like the cold, deprivation or what do they call
Exposure?
it? Cold exposure. Yeah. It's like, Andrew Huberman talks about it, and there's so much science behind that. And then like with breath work, it's very similar
Yeah.
science, and it's all, but it all connects back to this.
Yeah.
Like
And
your brain. It's crazy.
with your brain, with your connection to God, source, the universe, whatever language,
Yeah.
it just connects everything, I feel like. And I feel like that's what we're kind of maybe yearning for is deeper connection.
Yes.
Connection to ourselves, connection to what we call source or the creation. And then just
Higher power.
Yeah, however you would like to
Refer.
yes, refer to that for yourself. And then connection with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So going back to Greece.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank Got it. Sometimes I need, you got to take the
I
wheel.
want to talk about it more. It was so amazing. So, my husband and I went up ahead of this intensive. It wasn't an immersion. It was definitely a breathwork intensive.
Okay.
And so we got to vacation and do all the amazing things and loved everything about Greece, the food, the people, all of it. And then we went to the island of Crete, which was on my bucket list since I was, in college. And that was just amazing to actually be like, I actually got to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's amazing. And the intensive was on this land in Crete it's really unbelievable. It was amazing. So you were in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
We were, they had one cabin, they had teepees,
wow.
no electricity, everything everything was off grid.
That's awesome.
And they had this beautiful creek that ran through the property. And so there was just so much raw nature.
That's awesome.
That the amount of connection was just beautiful. We were just really supported by the earth and by nature while we were there. And breath work, we were talking about the brainwave states and really being able to get connected. Breath work is super powerful. So yes, sound can do it. The breath work, you get into even a deeper state to where you can actually access the subconscious mind.
Wow.
And be able to also be in a state of rest and restore to where you can access what you might have been suppressing or holding on to.
Huh.
And you can actually have an opportunity to process that.
Damn.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, Mac really preaches the breathwork stuff, and I don't know. I mean, it's I'm still learning, but like, how long was the actual retreat for you?
It was 8 days.
Okay.
And so all of us there have taken at least 450 hours online,
Right.
and then this was our 50-hour intensive in person.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And so, and part of the requirements for certification for the facilitation, and so all of us there have a desire to facilitate the breath work. I got lost again.
Well, we were talking about like why you went and then what you learned.
Yeah. So
the creek, the teepees.
The creek was amazing. I meditated by the creek every single morning.
That's freaking awesome.
I know.
Y'all slept in the teepees?
I actually was in the cabin,
okay.
But some of the other people were in the teepees. Yes. I mean, but it was very, it was fine. It was mattresses on the floor, whether you were in the teepee or the cabin.
Yeah.
And we really just...
Everybody's there for one purpose. To learn the breath work and
to learn the breath work and to experience the breath work. So we would be led through breath work journeys at first once a day and then twice a day. And then some days we even had an opportunity to do a third session. So it was a lot of breath work.
How long are these stints? Like each breath work?
Oh, for the whole session itself? Usually about an hour and a half.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So y'all were doing that up to 3 times a day at one point?
I don't think I ever did 3 a day, but I did the 2 a day.
Gotcha.
But you had an opportunity a couple of times if you wanted to.
Whoa.
Yeah. So there was just so much.
That's crazy.
That came through.
Yeah.
That you get to process when you come back and take as much time as you need because, there's really not a lot of words to put to it. So there's only a few modalities that really allow you to fully tap into that subconscious mind, and that's breath work.
Okay.
And then things like plant medicine and in hypnosis.
We're going to get to that after because that's actually what I'm going to be partaking in.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. I actually think I asked you about it before when I first met you. Maybe I haven't. I don't know.
I don't remember. You might have. You might have. Yeah. I've actually never journeyed with plant medicine. I've only ever done sound journeys, even just before I even offered them. Like I went to sound healings and sound journeys. And
do you believe in that stuff, or I mean,
believe in plant medicine? Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I just haven't.
Just curious.
I just always follow my guidance.
Okay.
Or my intuition, and I have not been guided as of yet to partake.
Gotcha.
In a plant medicine journey like ayahuasca, or there's lots of different ones.
Yes, correct. Yes. Apparently that's on the menu for that, and it's a whole ceremony. I think it's like a 12-hour thing. And I'm nervous and excited.
Yeah.
But I know it's part of the learning process because I feel like I've been going through all these steps. Like going to your class was definitely a huge jump for me because I have, I'm in the program and I am becoming spiritually enlightened all the time, and I just kind of feel like that's where I'm supposed to go next. I don't know, but I'm curious about the breath work now. Is that what you're going to start doing? Because I know we talked about that. Yes. You were like really excited on the phone. So I'm super excited.
Yeah. So it's interesting right now. I'm in a transition as far as like location of where I'm doing my offerings. And at the same time, there's just like all this excitement about what's also coming. And right now I'm doing my post-requisite journeys. So I'm doing 30 in-person one-on-ones.
Okay.
And then once those are complete, then I can, get final approval.
Nice.
Then I can start opening up to either continue to do one-on-ones or do group sessions similar to sound journeys. And I can actually combine the two and have both modalities present for those types of things. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Are you currently still in Covington doing the sound journeys, or?
So August is my last month that I'm going to be at the current location in Covington. And so I have one more sound journey, which may actually already happen by the time this airs. And in the meantime, until things open up and, I'm guided on where to go next, I can bring the sound journey to people. So like if someone has a location or studio where they could have groups come in, I can always, everything's,
I'm going to introduce you to Mac because his partner is working on something big. It's going to be in the city, but it's going to be for people like us.
Okay.
Like opened up for like tons of different, available spots for things like that. So I'll definitely connect y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love that.
But I mean, do you enjoy like doing the one-on-ones, like going to people? Because like when we went to your class, you had the whole setup. So like, what's better? I don't know. Like, what's for you?
As far as like doing it in a group versus one-on-one, I think it's not really necessarily I have a preference one way or the other from my perspective as the facilitator. I feel like it's really what the other person who's coming for the experience is actually needing. Gotcha. Or desiring. Gotcha. So when you are tapping into those subconscious parts of self and really going into that deep dive, similar like you'll have that experience when you go to your plant medicine journey, people really can access some deep stuff. And so
that's what I heard.
In a group setting, some people may not feel a sense of safety or comfort in having that type of expression happen in front of others. So they may want the privacy.
Gotcha.
And then other people may be perfectly comfortable having those types of experiences and expressions in a group setting. So for me, the group setting in Greece was the first time I actually breathed live in a group.
Oh, wow.
Everything else because of...
online.
Most things are online. Yeah. So everything was done online. And so we hadn't really even heard other people breathing because everybody's muted so that it can happen online. So it was a very different experience.
Did it throw you off a little bit because you had been doing all this on your own for 450 hours at this point?
Right. No, I actually went in like, what is this going to be like? I was really curious.
Everybody syncs up.
No, well, kind of. I mean, we do because, you have to be coached a little bit to stay devoted to the breath because it's work, it's breath and it's work.
I mean, and it's muscles and lungs and everything. I mean, it's all, it's a lot.
It is. And the type of method that I'll be working with, which is called the sacred breath method, it's definitely still work, but we also honor, that's the work or the The staying devoted is more of a masculine energy.
Okay.
And so we make sure we also invite the feminine energy. So
Right.
it's more of a moderate pace breath.
Gotcha.
To where people are not hyperventilating, and that they're able to stay in their rest and restore parasympathetic state of their nervous system, to where when they're accessing, they're calm and not in their fight or flight.
So that's strange. I've never known that. So there's a masculine breath work and there's a feminine.
Well,
that's crazy.
Well, we could label it that way.
Right.
If we want to. So if you just look at like, in general, we all have masculine and feminine energetics, you know.
It's like yin and yang.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, good energy, bad energy. You need both, right?
Yes. You need the light, you need the dark.
Yes.
You need
they balance each other out.
Absolutely. And so in each individual, no matter what gender or however we identify, all of us have a masculine and feminine dynamic within us. And so we can be polarized one way or the other. And so if you just think about, let's say, more of a distorted masculine type of energy would be just to force, to really force something to happen.
Like rough, like a hard like breath or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And to where there's also yin breath work, where it's definitely just more feminine, slower, lighter.
Okay.
And there's no, I guess you would say, work or force involved. And so the type that I'm going to be facilitating is really beautiful, because I love when it's in balance and in harmony, just like the singing bowls.
For sure. Yes.
So when something is in balance, I just feel like it creates such a field of safety and harmony, to where when people are going to access those parts of themselves, that the container is being held in fullness.
Well, and I also think that balance that you're talking about, it's almost like the gateway to like doing the thing it's supposed to do for that person, that individual person, like that frequency, that sound. It was, you know, because like I said, you know, you had a lot of different sounds going when you started. And I mean, the class was pretty in depth. And I think I was up for like maybe 18 minutes. I was trying to count in my head. And I guess, you know, you were trying to walk us through it. But I literally, like, at some point when it was like very, like, I don't want to say monotone, but there was this one sound that was kind of like unified. And then boom, I woke up and I was like, what the hell just happened? I was like, is that it? Like, I just woke up, but it felt like, I couldn't even get up right away. It was crazy. Yeah. You were like waking us up all slow. And I was like, dude, what just happened? Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Have you ever seen cymatics? Do you know what cymatics is? So we were talking about sound and vibration.
Yes.
And so with cymatics, it's like looking at the waveforms and the geometries of what's created through sound.
Okay.
So you can have like a plate that vibrates, and you can put sand on it. And as you play that sound, it changes into a very particular geometry.
That's wild.
So it is wild. And this is the part where I kind of geek out.
Is that the energy, or is that the frequency, or the vibrate? Like, what's changing that structure?
It's I believe it's the vibration and the frequency.
Gotcha.
And so when you're listening and receiving, so we're receiving the sound with our ears, but we're also actually receiving it through the body. Right. Yeah, I mean, we're like mostly water.
Yeah.
And
well, especially with the breath work, like, you know, because you would tell us to breathe, and I was just like, just felt like things were getting not loopy. I don't know. It's hard, you know.
You were just getting really relaxed, and maybe you just weren't used to that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you want us to let go.
Yes.
And to like just accept it. And I'm like, man, I am trying to figure out what she's talking about. And then it was just like, boom, I woke up. So I guess that happened.
It did. It's crazy. You can trust that it happened.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. So with the vibrations and the frequencies, there's this thing called vibrational entrainment. Have you ever heard of that?
Entrainment?
Entrainment.
Okay.
So if...
Have not.
Okay. And again, I love these types of things. So cymatics is amazing too. Entrainment. Vibrational entrainment. Yeah, so with the cymatic, so if you look at the geometry, so when the bowls are being activated and you're hearing the vibrations, that waveform or that geometry that's showing up on the plate in cymatics, that geometry is actually the waveform that's you're receiving. So it's cool that it's like sound, vibration, frequency, geometry. I was like,
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's
So
wild.
with the vibrational entrainment, if there's anything that's not in harmony, that's not vibrating in harmony, and then there's a sound or a frequency that's of harmony or a higher vibration or frequency, the lower vibration will always naturally rise to the higher vibration. And that's vibrational entrainment. So
Wow.
whatever your body, when you arrived, if there was any type of dissonance in the body, in the mind, in the emotional field,
Right.
because, you know, it's affecting you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's like all levels with sound and also with breath work. And so when you were receiving, and I say
Yes.
receiving because you're receiving it on so many different levels.
Yeah. Well, I guess I kind of like just like let my mind become blank. Like I stopped thinking at one point, and then that's when it happened.
Well, I mean, all emotions are intelligent, and all emotions teach us something. There's so much information. It's just we've gotten conditioned to believe that we have good emotions and bad emotions.
Emotions are feelings, correct?
Well,
Or no?
not yes and no.
Gotcha.
So we have our good emotions, right? Joy, happiness, all that stuff. And then when we get to the stuff like anger, blame,
Which feels
shame,
good. Anger
rage,
feels good.
it can feel good, because if you actually allow anger to fully move through and not actually project it onto someone or something, someone else, and you actually allow yourself to feel your own anger, you can actually receive a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
Liberation from not holding on to the anger. And so because we tend to stuff or hold anger, hold it in, or we tend to express it out to someone else, because the energy can be so intense, we've called it's bad. You're not meant to be angry. You can't be angry, all the things. But anger is part of our human experience because someone's crossed the boundary.
For
right?
sure, yeah.
Usually someone has crossed the boundary.
For sure.
So perhaps what someone else may have been going through when they're receiving the vibrations from the singing bowls is it could have activated an emotion that could have been perhaps.
Yeah, like I was ready to go there because Chris said, you know, he has high anxiety, and he's like, because he didn't even want to do it this time. He was like, I don't need to do it. I'm good, because like I still feel good. And I was like, I want that feeling because I am an anxious person. You know, I have all these things going on in my life. And I'm always very open-minded, and I guess I have been, you know, training my brain to do a lot of stuff compared to like, you know, people, you know, regular people, I call it. And so I just felt like when I walked in there, I was ready for like something crazy. Yeah, because definitely everybody there got something out of it differently, a little differently, right? And that's the whole point. Whenever you're doing one-on-ones, is it the same amount of time like at the session that we did, or is it like a shorter session? Like how does stuff like that work? Because if you're like bouncing from place to place, like how many can you do in a day?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that to myself.
Right, yeah, because that's like a lot of setup.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that to myself. I guess I would just wait and see how it showed up, and then continue to choose if that was gonna
work for you.
Yeah, feel good. But I wouldn't. I'm definitely not in a place where I'm just gonna say yes to everything.
For sure.
And just choosing what feels good and what's gonna work. So I would never do that to myself. But I mean, temporarily, I can do some of the things. I also do energy work, and so I can do that online.
Okay.
I've done courses to help people to do like learn how to meditate, to learn how to be in their body, just different practices and ways to become more present.
Right.
Because usually we are not in full experience of the experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We tend to be concerned about so many other things and go out of body, use that word, or in our minds about it, and not like, okay, like right now I can feel my feet on touching the floor.
Yeah.
I can feel myself sitting on the seat. So like there's a lot of, I can really do different tools. I even have my stone in my hand that helps me stay grounded too. Just to be able to feel something and remind myself, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm in my body, and I'm enjoying this experience.
Wow. So most of us are trying to get an out of body experience. Is that what you're?
We tend to avoid the present moment.
Okay. Yeah. We can't go back in the past. We can't predict the future.
Yes, we like to control things because being able to feel like we have control over things, we feel it gives sort of like this false sense of safety is how I call it. At least that's been my experience. Yeah. I would say I was definitely more controlling in the past. That was one of the big things that I worked through, was not needing to control. And I'm human, so there's still things that come up for me, but so much has shifted around control and understanding why I was controlling, because it was too scary to not know.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
There's fear for a lot of us, and having the mystery, having the unknown, because we don't, what does that even look like? I don't know. And people can kind of freak out. So they would rather choose something that's familiar, even if it's not the best choice for them.
Wow. Because they're so scared of just not knowing.
Yeah. The mind, your ego, whatever language you want to call it.
It's pride and ego. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very crafty.
Yeah.
And it will find all the reasons and why you shouldn't choose the new choice or the new path or the unknown, because if you've not chosen that for yourself, whatever the situation may be, and it's like, you have that calling that I know I need to do different.
Yeah.
The mind will kick in, the ego will kick in and kind of talk us out of it.
So like that feeling before the ego kicks in, is that like intuition?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say it's intuition. You could call it intuition. You could call it the soul speaking.
Yeah. Like this, ayahuasca ceremony. It's like, I feel like I have to do this.
You have a calling.
Yeah. But a year ago, no. 2 years ago, hell no.
You wouldn't have been ready for it.
Correct. I wanted to cough at the same time. Yeah. And I just feel like I'm at that point. And some people are probably going to think I'm crazy, but I don't feel like that at all. I actually feel like this is how it's supposed to be. I don't know.
Yeah. And
I've heard enough people talk about it and do it. And it's not like, I think people have like a big miscommunication with plant medicine. Yes. They're like, oh, you're going to get high. And it's like, that's not what it is, right?
But people can become addicted to anything, right?
For sure.
So,
for sure.
And people can misuse plant medicine and and all the things. But there can also be a deep honoring of the plant and the medicine and what you're actually receiving. Oh, yeah. And yeah, it can be a very deep, beautiful journey I've not had that, but I can understand the agreement that you're going into.
Yeah. You see, you know the wordage
with the plant, because we have consciousness.
Yes.
The plant has consciousness.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, everything we ingest, food, drink, what we listen to, whether it's through the mouth or through the ears, or what we're saying to ourselves in our mind, it all has consciousness. And so when you're choosing to have an experience with breath or sound or plant medicine, it has a consciousness, and you're allowing it.
Has a consciousness.
Your breath is medicine. So,
whoa.
Yeah. So
mind blown.
So think about it. Can you go without food for a while?
Yes.
Can you go without water for a while?
Yes.
How long can you go without breathing, relatively? Right?
2 minutes.
Yeah. I was going to say, you already spoke to yours about 2 minutes. So
that's underwater. I've never tried it above water. I don't know. Probably less than that.
You could.
I feel like the cold allows me to hold it longer. I'm not sure why. I don't know what's going on right now. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening to me.
Yeah, but the breath is definitely medicine. That's why you're able to really go so deep with it.
Yeah, you feel euphoric when you start really breathing like longer, or at least the brain, something's happening up there to where, I don't know. Mac calls it the light.
Yeah. So lots of different cultures think of the breath as life force.
Yeah. He did say that.
Yeah, it's your life force. It's your prana. It's your chi. It's your ki. It's like
you're the
they
light.
have all these different terminologies, and one of the ones I really love is the chariot of the soul.
Okay.
So if you think about like humans, when we come into this world, we take our
first breath,
and when we leave,
take our last breath.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. So, it always blows my mind when I think about that. Like, okay, what is animating these bodies? How are we? It's a miracle that we're here, and then we come here with the breath, and we leave here with the breath.
Right.
So it has consciousness.
That's crazy. I just I love learning from you. Do you feel like this new breath technique and practice is like the next step for you as far as like what you're going to be teaching mostly, or it's just going to be a balance of everything?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the way that I'm designed, it's not going to ever just be this one thing. It's going to be like, okay, I love learning about all the things.
Yeah.
And then if someone is called to have me guide them, assist them, facilitate,
Right.
whether that be one-on-one in group, it'll be exactly what they need, and it'll
Okay.
be in combination for what they need.
Yeah.
And so I'll have different tools to help hold the space for whatever they need to move through.
Right. So like if the whole team wants to come like do breath work class with you, what would we be doing? Or like where would we be able to go at this point right now?
Yeah, at this point right now, I would have to come to you.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah, we could do it here. Me and Mac meditated right in the lounge. And
I would have to come to you.
Yeah,
So
it was
yeah, I'm
awesome.
really, so this is part of like my journey too. So
Yeah, I remember you saying that on
yeah,
the phone.
so like I have so much clarity around what I know I'm here to continue to do and offer.
yes.
And at the same time, I'm leaning into the mystery of what that's going to look like.
With not controlling the outcome.
Yes, exactly.
How does that make you feel?
For the first time, probably excited, because I don't know, but I'm excited about it. And I'm like curious and excited to see how it's actually going to come to me and unfold.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it seems to have changed your life, right? Like, I mean, when you came back from Greece, like, how did you feel?
Exhausted.
Okay. Yeah.
Not just because of the jet lag and the time change. When you're moving through, just like you'll have your experience and you'll be able to speak about it when you come back, but you probably won't be ready to speak about it right away, because
I've heard different things.
You need time to kind of let your body digest, your mind digest, and like now you'll have been shifted.
Yes.
Just like you felt a shift after the sound journey, you will have been shifted.
Yes.
And so you get to reorient to yourself now that you're shifted. And then the people around you are going to get to orient to a different version or a different level of vibration that you're showing up as.
Yeah.
And so that takes some time for the body to catch up to. So part of the exhaustion was travel, and part of it was because of the experiences I was having while I was there, which was high energy, deep connection, moved through emotional things, got just a lot of amazing things that came through. Like my body needed time. It needed time to integrate.
Like physically exhausted, like just completely draining in a way.
In a way, and if we go back to thinking about the vibration and the frequency and the energy, and like we show up as an energy field everywhere we go. We're not just the body, right? We are a whole field of energetics.
Okay.
And so when you go through different experiences, it changes your field, it changes your vibration, it changes your frequency. And so the body is more dense.
Okay.
In a way, compared to other fields of energy we could talk about. So the body takes some time. So I just needed to rest as much as possible. So I was just really tired. So I think I might have slept for 3 or 4 days, and just not really ready to go out into the world, because I was with a group of people. We were all focused on the same thing. We were all experiencing all of these things and sharing them together. And we were on this amazing land, and we were completely off grid and isolated. And then we come back to our realities. We're on grid. We have all the things that we need to be doing. And then we also need to honor like
what just happened.
Yeah.
That's a lot to process.
Which is why I was tired.
Yeah. Well, that's I think I'm gonna go into it like fasted, but for like not like 12 hours, for like a day. So I just went on a spiritual men's retreat for St. Dominic Church last weekend, and I fasted for like a day and 19 hours, and I was like praying harder, and like I just felt a different energy at that state. Never felt like that before, and I was like, whoa, this is. So I've been really experimenting hard with the intermittent fasting, and the forum that I'm on with this group that we're going to be having a ceremony. It's they're very in depth, very detailed, like you. They talk just like you. I'm surprised. It's like surprised I don't know each other, but Yeah, they
we do on another level.
for sure. But I'm definitely like, I want to, I guess, kind of be close to that same mindset going into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I am a little nervous and stuff like that.
That'd be normal.
Yeah, but I feel like when you're fasted like that, you could just receive anything. I mean, like your body, like your mind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So when we were talking about how we're receiving consciousness all the time, so like the foods that we're eating are conscious.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And
like
we're exchanging with them all the time. So
Yeah.
if you're really being mindful of what you're consciously consuming and you step into a particular experience, it could be completely different versus if you decided to only eat hamburgers and French fries and drink Coke and go into the experience. There's nothing, you can totally do that. There's no judgment, but the experience might be completely different than when you've cleared your body of any other things that could be denser in the body.
Well, yeah, because you don't want it to be polluted with junk. You know, like they basically recommend water. I mean, little salt towards the end, 0 caffeine, no nicotine. So I'm going to have a tough time, but I'm ready for it because I feel like once it happens, it's, you know, I always hear different people say it's like life changing, you know, and, you know, I mean, I think my life's great right now, but I just want to get better. Kind of like you, like, I just want to become more enlightened. I guess I just am on that path. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to come and try the breath work with you.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. Both things.
Yes. How can people reach out to you?
Yeah. So
if they want to start taking any class from you.
Yeah. So my website is radiancewellness.love.
Okay, gotcha.
So everything's on the website. I have an Instagram, which is my name, which you're gonna have that on the page.
It's either popped up before or after, and time flew already.
Are we really close?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been like an hour.
Oh wow.
I think we started at like 8:06. It's like 9:01. Ain't that crazy?
That is crazy. I feel like we just did like a sound journey and time
yeah.
changed.
Do you have like anything for the listeners, like do you have any like words of encouragement, advice, or like what would you want to tell people that are like watching this right now if they just got to this point?
Yeah, so that's a great question.
Thanks. Been practicing.
Yes. So we all get to be exactly where we are. Just right where you are is enough.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
I can't wait to have you back, and I can't. So next time when we meet again, we will have film footage, and all that stuff. We didn't have it last time. Chris had to go work out or whatever. But we're trying to do more experiences with the guests that we have on the show.
Okay.
We want to be able to like record and show like what y'all do. You know, because people are always like, oh, why do you have this person on or that person on? And for people that hopefully watch and listen to the show, they can see like why this person's sitting in this chair talking to me, because you have a lot to say. You're very inspiring, and you definitely made an impact on my life. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm grateful, and I look forward to having you back.
I'm very grateful too. Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything, Lisa, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.